We're going to have Rodney Skelton from the BVI Tourist Board to talk to us about the upcoming Restaurant Week and the Lobster Fest, the Anegada Lobster Fest. Also, I have with me Dr. Cindy George. She's going to talk to us about the importance and maintenance of the family structure. You know, we have some challenges in the Virgin Islands now with various types of families. It's no longer the traditional family where you have mother, father, and children. You have single-parent families and also other types of families. She's going to talk to us about the importance of family and maintaining the family structure, as well as how to raise cooperative, confident, and compassionate children. So make sure you stick around. It's going to be a very important and informative evening, things that you need to know for pleasure and for your safety, security, and to build your family and to have a harmonious Virgin Islands. But of course, first we got to go to Sean Rose. We're going to be discussing the stories making the news this week. Sean, what you got for us?
Good evening, Jtvlivenet. Good evening, viewers. This evening we are taking a look at remarks made by the Complaints Commissioner, Elton Georges. He's saying, Jtvlivenet, that there is some improvement in terms of how we are managing complaints today. He is applauding the government for giving more attention to the handling of complaints, and he's of the view that the office of the Complaints Commissioner is having an overall beneficial impact on the territory in terms of helping to improve the quality of service offered from governments, departments, and agencies. He says, though, that it may take another 10 to 15 years before we can see any real change in terms of improving the standard of service that we offer here, not only from government agencies and departments, but generally speaking.
Well, I want to commend the Complaints Commissioner and the Complaints Commission. I think they've done an excellent job in taking complaints and getting results. It was something that was long overdue, and I certainly was happy to see that such an office was instituted and persons who had grievances with various departments and government finally had some redress. One of the things, though, the Complaints Commissioner talk about what I would say, for a matter of speaking, teeth, you know, its ability to enforce action or create action. Did he have anything to say about that? Because people have been calling the Complaints Commission toothless tiger. What did he have to say about that?
And that's relative, because he spoke to that in many ways. For example, he said there is the issue of the respective departments taking the decisions and the suggestions offered by the Commission to make the necessary changes. There is also the issue of following up on the respective complaints. But he drew attention to the absence of a tribunal, a labor tribunal, a disputes tribunal at the Labor Department, and he alluded to the statement made by Deputy Premier Dr. Kedrick Pickering in relation to that matter. Of course, we know that is delayed somewhat, although we were told by the Deputy Premier that it is coming on stream. So basically, there is that distance that the Complaints Commission can go. However, there are other agencies, such as the tribunal, that are needed to help to put the teeth, more or less, and into these issues and to ensure that we actually see results.
Well, one of the things I've noticed, the Complaints Commissioner is bringing a lot to light regarding the performance of the various departments and the challenges that customers are having or users are having with these various departments, and that in itself tend to shed some, put a spotlight, so to speak, on some of these departments and create a sense of embarrassment for people who are not really doing what they're supposed to be doing. So that in itself is having impact.
Yes.
Did he talk about ways outside of his ability to enforce any decision that he could sort of influence the investigation process and the delivery of his service process to the public?
Well, sure, because he's calling on people to be not afraid to complain. He's saying you should demand quality service. You deserve a very high standard of service from the respective government departments and agencies and so forth. And people should lodge their complaints, justifiably so, of course. He's saying as well that there is that gap between the complaints and the following up, because even at the Complaints Commission's office, there is not a lawyer on staff, and he's calling for a lawyer to be added to the staff to help to really support what's being done there, because let's face it, there's so much that small staff can do. But in terms of reaching out into these departments and helping them to improve their standard of service, because you can look at it that way by, of course, looking into the complaints issues and putting the pressure on. He's saying that offices such as the Governor's Office, the Premier's Office, the BVI Health Services Authority, the BVI Electricity Services, they have all come under the hammer of the Complaints Commission. And with that, apart from, of course, the disputes tribunal coming on stream later down the road, government has introduced an agency, an office within the civil service to handle complaints, and there is now an inspector of police at the Royal Virgin Islands Police level to deal specifically with complaints. So generally speaking, you're really seeing some changes across the board, gradual changes, as the Complaints Commissioner describes it.
Another thing is the fear factor. You know, most of the persons with complaints appear to be migrant workers. You know, they have challenges with labor, with employers, and so on. And of course, by virtue of the fact that they're here on work permits, they could be deported at any time if their work permit is expired or not renewed. In having to work and having to support themselves and possibly their families, there's a high degree of fear in their minds regarding making a complaints about employers who may happen to be Virgin Islanders.
But it's interesting that you mentioned that, because the Complaints Commissioner did say that a number of private complaints, private sector-based complaints, do come to the office, and he has had to direct them to the more appropriate authorities. In fact, what he's saying, and that this is a fact, the Complaints Commission only deals directly with complaints coming from or in relation to government-based departments and agencies. So the private sector is another thing by itself, and that's where, of course, the Disputes Tribunal and the Labor Department will have to come in to address those issues that are, of course, labor issues not related to the government side in terms of government service.
But in many instances, I'm talking about persons migrant workers who have to deal with government agencies.
Right, that's right, that's right.
And not getting the service
Yes.
that they need, in a lot of cases being abused by employers and not having redress.
Yes.
And certainly and afraid to seek redress by virtue of the fact that they depend on a work permit and employment in the territory.
Precisely, and so that's a strong point.
Yeah, then and I'm wondering, you know, if he recognizes that challenge and is looking to be able to help that situation, to encourage those migrant workers with those challenges to come forward and feel encouraged to speak out.
I think he didn't segment or look in any specific way at the various demographics. He really looked across the board in terms of asking people to come forward with their complaints. One would take into consideration the fact that, as you point out, there may be some fears in some sectors of the society about really lodging their complaints. And I get the sense that, as the Complaints Commissioner is saying, there's a greater understanding and appreciation for justifiable complaints. So one shouldn't be afraid anymore to go forward with your complaint, especially when it has to do with issues stemming from customer service. You know, because at the end of the day, the goal is to improve customer service in the territory. It's a financial services jurisdiction, a tourism jurisdiction. It's a very vibrant tourism sector that we have here in the BVI, and we want to ensure that all sectors of the economy understand that, and customer service is a common thread running throughout.
Well, certainly we're glad to have the Complaints Commission, and I know personally I've had some occasions to deal with the Complaints Commission in helping persons to get redress. And I know for a fact that it's doing a good job, and a lot of people are benefiting from the fact that we have a Complaints Commission. So it's a good thing, and I'm certainly looking forward to improvements in its ability to investigate and to bring satisfaction to those persons who feel aggrieved. So we're gonna see what's happening coming up in the news in the week.
Some more specifics, and you're gonna hear him speak to the issues.
Yes, we're gonna take a break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're gonna come back with our brother Rodney Skelton from the Tourist Board. We're gonna be talking about all the hot events that's coming up next month. Last year we had the restaurant week when the beginning in the Noel Lloyd Park. I went down there and tasted all kinds of food. I mean, and we had the best chefs and restaurants in the territory and the park, and the food tasted great. And that's coming back again, and there's going to be a whole week of discounts and food tasting and partying. And then of course we all going up to Anegada for the weekend. And I don't eat lobster, but I'm going. So when we come back, we're going to talk to Rodney about the exciting tourism, motivated events coming up in next month, and get a sense of where we can fit in, where we can participate, and how we can enjoy some of the events that's coming up. Keep it locked right at the Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Clarence Thomas Limited, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.
Calling all CCT Internet customers. Did you know if you have CCT Internet service including internet on your phone, you can connect to CCT's 4G Wi-Fi service free of charge? That means you can enjoy unlimited high-speed CCT Wi-Fi on any Wi-Fi device. Browse the web, check your mail, stay connected to any of CCT BVI's hotspots for free. Call CCT today and request your exclusive CCT Wi-Fi username and password, and join the CCT Wi-Fi network. CCT, the home of unlimited.
Educational institutions are often best judged by the quality of their graduates. At the Hamilton Lapidus Stout Community College, the educational experience offered enhances the lives of graduates and through them, organizations and communities as well. I believe HLSCC graduates represent the rich tapestry of skills, attitudes and personalities needed for any community to thrive. I am Zebulon McLean, Chief Fire Officer of the Virgin Islands Fire and Rescue Service, and a proud alumnus of HLSCC, where I obtained a Certificate of Achievement in Disaster Management and 2 associate degrees in Business Administration and Finance before furthering my studies abroad. I also serve as an adjunct lecturer at HLSCC and enjoy participating in the college's 2-mile race series. I fully support the efforts of HLSCC to deliver tertiary education to the Virgin Islands and the region. And now, because of HLSCC, I am making a difference.
Remember, at HLSCC, your tomorrow begins today.
For any job, be it residential or commercial, Clarence Thomas Limited is the British Virgin Islands' best choice for a wide variety of supplies to help tackle any task. Refresh the interior and exterior of your home with our selection of paint and painting supplies. For home improvements, CTL is your one-stop source for sinks, tubs, toilets, faucets, and decorative products. Convert your yard into a landscape paradise with tools and supplies from our lawn and garden center. Or visit our lumber yard where you can build that house from the ground up. Visit our convenience stores location at Pasir, Port Purcell and Tortola, and the Valley Virgin Gorda. We provide something for everyone. Clarence Thomas Limited, the best products at the lowest prices, period. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Jtvlivenet. I'm here with Rodney Skelton from the BVI Tourist Board. What's up, my brother?
Hey, all is well, man. Again, I feel like a repeat customer here. I'm always here before you.
Yeah, well, that's cool. You know, Tourist Board making some advances, trying to to spark tourism in the territory, keep the money circulating.
Yes, yeah.
You know, keep us excited, try to bring people in. That's a good thing. It's
I
a
wonder
good
if we
thing.
don't have a job for you.
For me?
You selling it the way that we need to be selling it.
Well, listen, I open the, I look at work, you know.
Call the boss. Call Sharon. Tell her.
I look at work. So anytime I have something opening, I'm ready.
Okay,
you know.
okay.
I don't refuse work. Yeah, but I know last year I had a ball. I came down to the park during lunch, a light pack, and I had a good time. The food was great. I mean, there wasn't a lot for me as a vegetarian.
Okay.
You know, it had a lot of seafood and so on, and other, fritters, but very tasty and creative concoctions. And I think perhaps this time, because the vegetarian population in the BVI is growing.
It's growing, definitely.
So this time perhaps we could get a little more vegetarian dishes. I'm rooting for a little more vegetarian dishes, 'cause I'm definitely going to be in the pack.
All right.
But a lot's coming up. Talk to us about what's coming up.
All right. Well, Cromwell, as you know, we have two great events that we're merging together as one. You spoke about tourism and what we're trying to do for the territory. And I think people have said it more than once. We can no longer be about sun, sand, and sea. We have to diversify our product. We have to find other ways to tap into the traveling tourists out there. One such way is culinary. My mother taught me from when I was small is two things people have to do. Well, three. You got to born, you got to eat, and sooner or later you got to meet your maker.
Right.
So food is an integral part of every community, every traveler, everyone that you have going out there. So we're trying to tap in to that food tourism, that culinary tourism market. As you mentioned, last year we had the restaurant week. This is our second year trying to make sure that we have a great restaurant week. We've expanded restaurant week. We're now having two kickoff events. You came last year to the one in the Noah Lloyd Park. We are doing that one in Noah Lloyd Park again. But the following day we go over to Virgin Gorda and we're going to have, what we're calling it is a taste of the BVI Tortola, taste of the BVI Virgin Gorda. Our restaurant week runs from November 22nd to December 1st. So the first kickoff event, which takes place in the Noah Lloyd Park, as you mentioned, is on Friday, November 22nd, from 11 to 4. Now, Restaurant Week encompasses quite a bit of restaurants. We have close to 50 restaurants participating in Restaurant Week. This is an opportunity for all you out there to tell the wife, not tonight. You don't have to cook tonight. Or if the husband does all the cooking, and I do a lot of cooking myself, tell the husband, honey, you don't have to cook tonight. Let's go and sample food from all of these wonderful restaurants that we have in the BVI. We have tourists coming from miles away, spending tens of thousands of dollars to enjoy what we have right next door. This is a chance for us to get out and sample some of these foods. These restaurants are offering significantly reduced prices for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I know we don't have much time, so I'm going to encourage everyone out there, I'll do that periodically, to please go out and check out our website. You can go to the BVI tourism website. I think it's /Restaurant Week. I'll talk about Anegada Lobster Festival a little bit later. That too is BVI tourism. I think it's /Anegada Lobster Festival. We're on Facebook, we're everywhere. So anything that you don't catch out there, my good folks, please go onto our website and check it out. So like I said, we have over 50 restaurants participating. In the park, you're going to have a sample.
Right.
50 ain't going to be there. But we're going to have a sample, giving you a sample of what they will offer during Restaurant Week.
And you're talking about savings of $20, $50, for lunch, for dinner. And because dinner is the most expensive meal
Typically.
in the restaurants, typically. And you're talking about savings, you're talking about breakfast for $6 to $9. Lunch for $20 to $45. Those are drastically reduced prices.
Those prices reminded me of things that I heard my grandmother talking about back in the day. Where can you get a full breakfast for $6?
Yeah, nowhere.
Nowhere.
And you can't even get that at home. Making it yourself, right?
Yes, you're right.
But one of the things I wanted to stress is the fact that we have some award-winning chefs, and we don't think of our chefs as important as we really should be thinking about them. I mean, the culinary team, for example, have had some dinners And I mean, it's just amazing how good the food tastes. The creativity in the drink, the cocktail making, the creativity in the food making, and the presentation, and the various tastes and so on, blended together to create a. Listen, brother.
I'm telling you.
Listen, we got to check out these restaurants. We have to come out and enjoy these various tastes.
And it's happening all
and presentation.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is happening across the BVI. So it's not just the main island of Tortola. Virgin Gorda has some excellent restaurants that are participating. Jos Van Dyke, Anegada, all the way across to Anegada. I want to mention that our sponsors. This is one event, Cromwell, that everybody is getting involved. The sailing, most of the yachting companies have come on board and say, listen, Tourist Board, we like what you guys are doing. We are offering discount specials, anything that you need to help us to promote this event. Our local ferries are offering discounts to Jos Van Dyke, Anegada, Virgin Gorda, and vice versa coming over onto Tortola from our sister islands. All we ask is that when you contact the restaurant that you're interested in, they will send you either via email or maybe a text or something like that confirming that yes, Cromwell Plus 3 is going to be visiting Anegada Beach Club, and we're going to be having dinner over there. You take that email or whatever it is that they offer you, you go to the ferry company, you're getting over there for $10, $15, and you're getting round trip travel on our ferries. Everyone has been excellent in terms of coming together and understanding this is a community effort.
So let me understand that good. If you're going to Virgin Gorda and Anegada, and you're going and you can show that you're going to participate in the restaurant week or in the lobster fest, you're getting a discount from the ferry.
You're getting a discount on the ferry services as well, and all the ferries have come on board and said we'll acknowledge these whether it's an email confirmation or whatever, and they're going to allow you to get on for next to nothing to get over to the sister islands. But you mentioned about our great chefs that we have here, and we're going to put them to the test. But we're going to have a little fun event. One of the key things that we're doing this year for Restaurant Week is the introduction of Chef Fed Federer. He is an award-winning chef. This chef is going to be on next season's Chopped. He's well known in the culinary world, and we have him here in the BVI, and he's going to be going off head-to-head with 4 of our best chefs that we have. Not they are the best. I can consider them the best. And in the Noah Lloyd Park, he's going to be smack dab in the middle. We're going to have one chef on the left, one chef on the right. We have a mystery basket. We're taking Chef Fed to go out to the agricultural farm grounds and get a chance to pick fresh fruits, vegetables, fresh meat that he's going to be using in this meal. I've heard the minister, I believe it's the Minister of Natural Resources and Labor and the Minister of Education and Culture talking about going from farm to table. Well, we're bringing it here, farm to table. So we're taking him out to our agricultural farms. Rolltown Wholesale has come on board as a sponsor. He's going to go around and do a little hand picking of the food items, and then the cook-off begins. We're looking at beginning that cook-off at around 12 o'clock, 12:15 on Friday, and again over on Virgin Gorda on Saturday, and he's going to be cooking off against them. We're going to have it's going to be real fun. This is not something that is real bogged down and heavy. This is just light. Let's come out and have some fun. They're going to get
and this is in the pack.
This is in Noah Lloyd Park, and then over at the Virgin Gorda Yacht Harbor, right in front where the Tourist Board's office is. We're going to have big festivities, music, entertainment. We're inviting the farmers to come out and display their wares as well. It's going to be great. I want to add one thing quickly. I know you may have to run to commercial. We have a junior chef champion.
Right.
I don't know
that was my question.
But that was my
great
minds think alike.
That's the question.
Great minds think alike. But we have a junior chef champion. This young man is I believe he just turned 16 years old. Chef Arik Flax from Virgin Gorda. And this young man, we're going to be pairing him up with Chef Fed so that he can get a little bit of expertise, a little bit of exposure, and he can show Chef Fed and the world that from a very young, tender age, we in the Virgin Islands, we can handle ourselves in the kitchen. So Junior Chef Champion Arik over in Virgin Gorda, I hope he's listening, because I think it's just great when you have a young person who has a passion that's outside of the norm, and he's a man. Typically we think, man, the kitchen belongs to the women. He is breaking barriers. We know his grandmother over on Virgin Gorda. She is proud right now, looking down on him to know that her grandson is following in her footsteps. But yeah, we're going to have the junior chef working alongside Chef Eric. And we're looking at having a good time for Restaurant Week. Again, the kickoff event, one is on Tortola, one is on Virgin Gorda. And we wrap it up on the Sunday. We have a celebrity chef cocktail reception. This is going to be, we haven't quite set it as yet. We're looking at about $150 per person. And this is a chance Chef Fred will be, and Chef Eric will be turning out food. You get a chance to come, wine, dine, and really interact, get some pictures taken with Chef Fred and some autographs done, because he is, you know.
So is this a cocktail or a dinner? Celebrity dinner or a cocktail?
It's a cocktail slash, but it's not sit down. We're not doing the sit down formal dinner. Okay. But the food that's going to be coming out is going to be second to none. You know, and Chef Fred has already begun promoting the BVI himself.
Okay. Where is that going to take place?
We haven't finalized it. We have about 2 or 3 spots that we're looking at. By the end of this week, we'll have that finalized, and that too will be.
And tell us when that's going. What day that's going to be?
We're looking at that to be on Sunday, I believe, the 24th.
Okay. So we still got to get the venue, and you say it's going to cost for the whole evening.
For the whole evening, food is coming, drinks are coming, entertainment.
All that be including $150.
Everything is included in $150.
And the gather.
Anegada.
Anegada is going to be the hot item.
You ready for Anegada?
I'm ready for Anegada. I'm telling you, I'm ready. I done got everything hooked up.
Well, and I mean, you could sell it. I don't even have to say. I could sit back and then you could
do all the talking.
My job. I know, Cromwell, you and I spoke extensively about the Anegada Lobster Festival. This is the first year we're doing the Anegada Lobster Festival. What we've learned, and it's really amazing. Up to today, I spoke to 2 folks, young persons. One from Virgin Gorda has never been to Anegada. And I think that's a big travesty.
I haven't been to Anegada since the old time campaign days. I think it was 2003 or something like that.
When you were campaigning about?
You know me. What kind of question? What kind of question? I always campaigned. Since the whole campaign days, I was to Anegada, and Anegada got some of the most beautiful beaches in just a nice, serene environment. And we're gonna bring a little nice. We're gonna bring a little nice.
We're gonna bring a little noise to Anegada. Yeah. What it is, I'll just kind of quickly go over the scope again for the interest of time. We have 8 restaurants on Anegada who are participating in the Anegada Lobster Festival. Now, everyone else is benefiting. I mean, the entire population of Anegada is invited to get on board. If you want to promote fly fishing or tours or anything like that, we want to make this a full package, a full experience. But what we have is, we know lobsters are in our mind, synonymous with Anegada. And what we've asked these restaurants to do is provide lobster bites, lobster samplers. Each restaurant is going to provide maybe 3-4 portions of lobster. You're not getting the whole lobster. If you want the whole lobster, you can also get the whole lobster. You can have anything that you want to eat. But for the promotion that we're doing, you have to go and get, you would have to go and ask for the lobster sampler. You get the lobster sampler. Either the portions are going to be prepared 3 to 4 different ways, or the portions are going to come with 3 to 4 different dips. So you may have mango sauce, you may have a peanut butter, you may have a lemongrass infused lobster. 3 to 4 different ways each of the different restaurants.
All kind of different tastes.
All kind of different tastes. If any of the restaurants out there need some ideas, kind of creative stuff, I could come up with some.
Yeah.
You know, but we want to make it really fun and festive. What happens is the lobster samplers, you're going to get them for just under $12. Once you've had the lobster sampler, say we were at Big Bamboo, and we're down there by Bigo, and you had a good time by Bigo at Big Bamboo, and you get your lobster sampler. Bigo is going to give you a blue set of beads, a blue colored set of beads. You have some drinks, you and your family pack up, you jump in the vehicle, and you head to the next spot. And say we're at the next spot and we go to Anegada Reef Hotel. There's maybe yellow. And you try their lobster samplers, and you have a drink, and you socialize, and you have a fun time with everybody else who's doing the very same thing that you're doing. And you keep going around. And what we're hoping is that by the end of your day, you would have visited at least 5 different establishments. Once you visited 5 different establishments, you come back to the tourist board tent, and we have goodie bags with all kinds of nice giveaways and things like that, which would it would have shown that you would have been around Anegada. Once you come over to Anegada, we're going to meet you at the dock. We have a nice kid-friendly map. A 6-year-old child can read the map. And it tells you exactly where the points are, where the restaurants are. It tells you where the museums are, different points of interest. Very easy. We have the scooter companies on board, the safaris, people of the BVI, now is your time to come. Let me make my pitch to the camera. Now is your time to come over to Anegada and experience Anegada the way that other people do, other tourists do. I've met tourists out there in the scooters going around Anegada. It's going to be a great time. Now, it's key to note, Cromwell, I want everybody to understand this. Typically, when you have festivals, you have a center stage, and it's a big old production. We kind of understand the times that we're living in. We simply can't afford at this time to have a big stage in the center of somewhere on Anegada. So what we've done is we've taken entertainment and put it into the businesses. So each business is going to have their own entertainment. It may be a fungi band, it may be a DJ, it may be a scratch band, or someone singing a cappella. So it's everywhere that you go, it's going to be a nice festive time.
Yeah, festive time.
Festive time. Now,
which to me is a better idea.
Yeah,
but you know,
I like
some people like the central location.
Some people like that, and we have heard that. We have heard that.
I like the each place you go, you could hang out and you could enjoy.
Have a different
music
vibe.
there. Yeah, different vibe. Absolutely.
I also want to point out, I know one of the main concerns is how do you get to Anegada? Boat only runs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, not for Anegada Lobster Festival. We have special boats running. Both on I forgot to set the dates. Cromwell, you got me slipping.
I will comment to that.
November 30th, December 1st. Right. November 30th and December 1st. So on November 30th, which is the Saturday, we have ferries leaving Road Town at 10 o'clock. They're going to stop in at Virgin Gorda, pick up any passengers there, and make their way on to Anegada. On the way back, on that Saturday, which is the 30th, the ferries come back at 10 p.m. On the Sunday, the ferries come back at 9 p.m. We are all working. We have 2 other companies that are looking to provide an interim service for those folks who want to come back a little bit earlier, maybe around 6 or 7. That too is going to be an option. We're hoping to have that locked in maybe by tomorrow. And
I think you also got. I think you got about 2 or 3 different times boats are leaving. Before the cutoff point. You have like boats leaving at 10, at 12, something.
Well, we don't have that set. That's not set. That's what we're working on.
Okay.
But more than likely, because, and you got to understand, it is quite a bit of a trip, and for the boats to be able to really capitalize on the funds, there's fuel, there's all of those things that we have to consider.
Too many trips.
So we're not going to have that many trips. What we're trying to do is get around a 6, 7 coming back, and then those folks like myself who want to party a little bit longer, those boats will come back. Those are already locked in. 10 o'clock and 9 o'clock.
And those of us who party all night, we can just stay over.
And it would be great. It would be great if everyone stays over. Again, if you go to the BVI tourism website, it's bvitourism.com. I think this one is / Anegada Lobster Festival. We also have / staycations. And I know we've promoted that already. This locals get special discounts on hotels and food and all of that. So please go and check out. Anegada has tons of staycation deals. You just need to go onto the website, check out all of the offerings.
All of the hotels have a local discount.
All of them have, but they have specials beyond that.
Specials
they have specials
beyond
beyond what you're used to. Yeah. So please go and check it out. Now, the last thing that we close out the Anegada Lobster Festival with is a sunset party. Yeah. So that's happening on that strip. If you're familiar with Anegada, on that strip you have Whistling Pines, you have Neptune's, Treasure, you have Potters by the Sea, you have Anegada Beach Club. There's a whole string of restaurants right along, or establishment right along that stretch where you come in on the government dock. We're going to have tiki torches all the way down, because now the sun is starting to go down. And these tiki torches are going to give a nice romantic type feel. We want persons to walk from end to end. All of those businesses are also participating in the Anegada Lobster Festival. So if you got tired of lobster, maybe halfway through the day, you want to take a break, go back to your hotel room, get a little bit of a rest, you may think to yourself, man, I only got 3 beads. I need 2 more. There's still a chance. The sunset party goes from 4 until we leave at 10 o'clock. You still have a chance to go down and check out a few other businesses, take your shoes off, put your toes in the sand, and just walk up and down, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your friends, your significant other. Walk up and down and try out, these other businesses on the strip as
And
well.
bring your bathing suit to go on the beach.
Bring it. Oh, you need to do that.
Bring your
Definitely,
bathing
you
suit
need to do
go on the
that.
beach. Yeah. And the plane has got some offerings as well.
We have the plane. We have the plane that is offering. Well, we have VI Airlink. They have a $99 round trip special. What do we have? The safaris are only charging $25. Smith's Ferry, they're only charging $40 round trip to Anegada. These are great deals. Again, I want to say thanks to everyone out there. I know we have sponsors, and typically, you know, you want to be able to list them out. It's a lot. Yeah. And I definitely don't want to miss any, but we have all the ferry companies. You guys know who you are. You guys have been great. The Road Town Wholesales, all the businesses that are participating, the hotels that are offering specials. This is what tourism is about. The BVI Tourist Board, we cannot do it by ourselves. We have a very small budget. I hope the Honorable Premier is listening out there. We're trying to do more with less. The Honorable Minister of Tourism. But we're going to need a little bit more next year if you want to see us doing things, a little bit more grander. But we are trying to do less with more, and we couldn't do it with the small budget that we have if it wasn't for all these other participating businesses.
And I think it's great because, you know, just like it's an addition to the Music Fest.
Yes.
And if all these events we have throughout the year, it helps us to attract tourists from outside, from not too far, but nonetheless they come and they spend money, because when we have these events, cars are rented, hotel rooms are filled, restaurants are filled, boutiques make sales. So the spill off is great. So this is a great idea to spur tourism in the BVI.
You couldn't say it any better. But I think one of the key things is planning and organization. Yes, you need funds behind it. It comes down to planning, and my team has done a great job of planning. And these are folks who have other functions within the tourist board, and they are taking up this challenge. So some of my all-star team, I have Meslyn Allen. She's responsible for Restaurant Week in general and the Taste of the BVI in Tortola. We have Shireen Flax Charles and her team over on Virgin Gorda. She's dealing with the Taste of the BVI Virgin Gorda and helping out with the cocktail reception. And then I have Kalita Henry, and she is responsible for Anegada. She has been working on Anegada Lobster Festival since last year. And so it takes a good bit of planning and effort. People are taking time away from their families. So please come out, support what we're doing. This is for the BVI. We gain nothing from this. The country gains everything.
We're going to have a lot of fun. November, it starts November 22nd.
November 22nd, Restaurant Week kicks off.
And then the 30th and the 1st.
The 30th and the 1st of December.
Is Anegada Lobster Fest.
We've been promoting this thing worldwide. This is already out there. We're going to have Chef Fed on board. We have Chef Arik on board. And we have our spiny lobsters on board.
Anything you didn't remember about what we said on Spotlight, you can go to the website.
Go to the website. Please forgive me, everyone. I know my staff is going to, if they're at home looking right now, they're going to be, oh, how could he forget? But it's a lot. You know, I'm not this tech-savvy person. But if you go to bvitourism.com, if you're adventurous, type in /Restaurant Week /Anegada Lobster Festival.
All you got to do is go to bvitourism.com.
Okay,
Lobster Fest going to pop right up in your face. First thing. Click it. The information right there.
Please have them check out the Facebook page. Just type in the search engine, Anegada Lobster Festival or BVI Restaurant Week. Like the page. Anything that's new that's coming up, any new specials, once we've locked in the new ferries, everything is going to be there. Please get online.
And you can call the tourist board at 494-3134.
Madam Director, if you're looking, Madam Sharon, it seems like we have a new employee here in Juenka.
And I check the whole thing out.
You don't get everything locked in.
Check the whole thing out. Right?
Yeah.
Good to see you, my brother. We're going to have some fun.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes.
And looking forward to seeing you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. That's Rodney Skelton, and coming up, starting November 22nd, going all the way to December 1st, we have Restaurant Week and Lobster Fest. Anegada Lobster Fest is going to be some big events, a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to have Dr. Cindy George. We're going to be talking about how to maintain the family structure and how to raise children that are cooperative, children that are confident, and children that are compassionate. Keep it locked right here to Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited, Clarence Thomas Limited, and Jtvlivenet Stout Community College.
Serving the community for over 25 years, Tortola Concrete Limited is the leading producer of concrete products in the BVI. With grades of 3,000 to 5,000 PSI, Tortola Concrete ready-mix quality unmatched in the industry, and we can mix to your specifications. Our aggregates are clean through our unique washing process for our smooth, clean mix. And our special chilling process makes our concrete crack resistant. Tortola Concrete Limited is the concrete company for all your quality concrete products. Gravel, road base, face stone, boulders, armor rock, coarse sand, terrace, and the cleanest, strongest, crack resistant, ready mix concrete. Tortola Concrete batch plan serve you Monday to Saturday, 7 a.m. until the last load. Our knowledgeable, effective staff gives you free estimate and delivers on time to any location. Contact Tortola Concrete at 494-3259, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Conveniently located in Parkwood Pond near the BVI electricity plant. At Tortola Concrete Limited, the strength is in the mix.
Life is like a mountain you must climb. Life is like a treasure you must find. A baby learning how to talk. With just one step begins to walk. One step at a time will lead you to paradise. Your dreams are there to find. One step to paradise.
Tempt your taste buds in the British Virgin Islands this November through 2 spectacular culinary events when the BVI Tourist Board presents BVI Restaurant Week and the Anegada Lobster Festival. Top-notch chefs, spiny lobster dishes, cook-offs, a VIP dinner, breakfast, lunch and dinner menus at unbelievable prices, and tons of fun on these beautiful Caribbean shores. Festivities begin the 22nd of November and continue until 1st December. For more information, contact the BVI Tourist Board at 1-284-494-3134 or visit bvitourism.com/restaurant week or bvitourism.com/Anegada Lobster Festival.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Social Security. How may I help you?
I'm here to find out about my husband's Social Security. You hear about that bad accident? Tis my husband get mashed up. So I come to find out about his security.
I'll be happy to help you. Let me see what you have.
Man, I have plenty bills.
There's a lot of bills. Taxi bill, hospital bill, a ambulance bill. He went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it was a serious accident, you know. The thing fall down and he nearly kill him.
So sorry to hear that.
So, when I gonna get some of that security money?
We process claims quickly. Let me just check on his contribution status. Miss, your husband's contributions are not up to date.
What? What do you mean by that?
He is registered with Social Security, yes, but contributions have not been paid in for him for over a year. I am so sorry, miss. He does not qualify to receive a benefit.
You got to be joking. He has been working all these years. What happened to his contribution? How are we going to pay all these bills? Miss, check again. Check again, miss, please. Check again.
Surprised? No need to be surprised. All insured persons should check on their contribution status at least once per year. Remember, you must secure your tomorrow today. Check on your contribution status right away.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with Dr. Cindy George. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
It's all. I really always enjoy having you on the show and talking to you because I think you have a lot of important things to say. People might say, "Oh, she's always on the show," but I think, some people think, well, what is it, third or fourth time you've been on the show?
This is my third time.
This is your third
yes.
time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I do, and I could call on you on a moment's notice, and I like that, as a resource person.
Sure.
I mean, all the reports that are coming out, there was a youth report, I think, I can't remember the exact complete name of the report, but that came out and talked about youth behavior in the territory and a lot of things that's going on.
Right, sexual behavior.
Sexual behavior.
A few weeks ago.
Child abuse. All of there's a lot of challenges. Broken families. I think it's some 61 to 65% of the families are single parent families. And we really are having some social challenges, and I think that the information that you bring is really valuable as a potential remedy to deal with some of these issues. So I'm always glad to see you and welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you. I'm always glad to provide information.
Yes.
That's why I'm here.
Yes. You want to talk about the family structures, and so just go into the what you're calling family structures, because we start calling families, because we start calling certain structures family structures that we have not known to be family structures in the past.
Right, and as you said that, as we have not known traditionally, and you're getting right to my point, and I think one of the things that I want to bring more aware, and especially in our community, is that the traditional family is being replaced by different types of family. And when I say the traditional family, I mean your mom, your dad, who are married, typically married, and have children between the two of them. There are no outside kids, as we call it, just kids for the two of them. And that family is slowly becoming less and less. And that's because of course, of divorce and remarriages. And the types of families that we're seeing the majority of now in society and just really across the world, step families and blended families. And so when I speak about the family, I'm not just speaking to the traditional family, but to a home structure whereby you have parental guidance or parental figureheads and minors. And again, when I say blended, that can be grandparents raising children, grandchildren, aunts raising nieces and nephews. And, my definition of family is exactly what I said, the household and persons who have taken on that responsibility to care for these persons. So it doesn't have to be a traditional
So it's
family.
a broad
It's a broader scope, exactly.
of what a family structure really is. And it's quite, simply put, it comes down to persons in a home with authority, or children in a home with authority, and interacting together for better development.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Now, you talk about these families, and let's make a list.
Sure.
Before you go on. You talk about blended families.
Correct.
You're talking about traditional families. And so explain what a blended family is.
Yes. Well, the blended family is somewhat of akin or similar to the step family. When we talk about the step family, we're talking about similar to the traditional, whereby there is marriage. With step families, you would have two persons who are married, whether they were married before this is second marriage, possibly second marriage for one of them or both. But then they have a child that may not belong to one of the parents. So you have a stepchild and a step parent. That's a step family. A blended family now is a little bit more whereby you may have persons where there may not be a marriage. You may have persons where they may not be the children, but maybe a relative. Maybe, like as I said before, you may have, let's say, an aunt and her husband raising her sister's son and their children. Now that's not a step family. That's a blended family. Because the step family goes back to the case where the children belong to one of the biological parents.
Right.
Okay? So when we say blended, we're talking about additional family relatives.
Okay.
Yes.
So those are the basic.
Those are the basic three types,
Right.
yes.
The traditional, the blended, and the step.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Now you talk about families as a subsystem.
Yes.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yes, and before we go any further, I want to say to our viewing audience, and just to speak a little bit to my practice, I was trained in the systems perspective. And really what that means is, and I always say to people, if little Johnny comes to see me, I have to see that family. I have to see the parents, the siblings, whoever else is in that family structure, because little Johnny does not live on an island by himself. You have to see what else is going on in that family structure.
All influences in his life.
Correct, correct. So having said that, when we look at the systems perspective and we talk about subsystems, we're looking at the different parts. You can think of it as parts of a family. What are the parts of a family? We said we have the parents, who are the authority figures. Now that parental system can be divided into two. You can have it as the parental system, the subsystem rather, whereby they are providing guidance, boundaries, rules, regulations for the minor. So that's the parent structure. Then we have the other structure, which we call the spousal. And again, in our society, persons may be living together and may not be married, but you call it a spousal because they are the intimate relationship. There.
In the old days, we used to call it common law marriage.
Common law marriage, yeah, exactly. So that's another subsystem. And then the third and final one, the sibling. Because I think that kind of gets lost sometimes. We don't think about sibling relationships and how that affects behaviors of children. Their relationships with their siblings, even with parents. We talk a lot about, parental relationship and parenting, giving tips for parents. But there's a sibling subsystem also in that family, the relationship between siblings as well.
And I suspect that the relationship between siblings becomes more challenging in the step family.
Correct. Yes. I mean, oh my goodness, don't even let me get started about the challenges of step families because, and just as a side note, I did my dissertation, my doctoral dissertation research on step families. And having come from a step family myself, a great one, where there weren't that many challenges, but definitely we see a lot of challenges between those siblings because what's happening is you have one of those parents is not the biological parent of one of those kids if you have two or three. Okay? And then you're going to see what? Maybe searching for competing attention, competing affection, things of that nature. You might even see lack of responding to parental advice or parental guidance because this is not my parent. You see all of those things like that. And again, with the sibling subsystem, what tends to get a bit tricky is when they begin to get older. And then how do I find my place? Maybe when it was just me and my dad, I was the older one, and I was the older big sister with my little brother. But then now I come into this family, and there's an older sibling who is now taking that role. So there's so many different dynamics that can happen when we talk of siblings, and they get lost. They get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we want to talk about management of those families.
Management of those subsystems.
The subsystem. But I want to throw another one at you.
Okay.
And this is a traditional family.
Okay.
Where additional children is thrown into the mix in the traditional family, where one parent go and have children during marriage someplace else and introduce those children into that family. I mean,
so it's like a quasi step family in a sense,
right? But what I'm thinking, what I'm thinking, it must be a situation where when you start out as a step family, the challenges are not as great as when you are introduced. You start out as a traditional family. And then a step family is introduced into that traditional family, and it turns the traditional family into a step family.
One would think so. Yes. That would be you would think so, yes. You would think that because it's something that was thrown upon you, unlike the traditional family where you know it's going to happen, you know it's happening. You can say that.
And having children not accepting those siblings.
Those siblings, correct.
You know, because it comes out of some infidelity and some hostility that comes along with the infidelity. The management of these subsystems, the management of these families, and the maintenance. How does that work?
Yeah, well, you know, and again, just to do them piece by piece and one at a time. Let's start with the parental subsystem. Again, that's the rules and regulations and guidance. You know, and I think the maintenance of that is really whereby you have to have the parents first understanding their role as parents. Who am I as a parent? Who do I want to be as a parent? Who do I want to be in terms of my relationship with my child, my children? And a lot of times, you know, we look at parenting and we say, okay, I can get all these rules and I can tell you what to do and these are the tips and these are the this and the that. But I think we miss that part, and that's such an essential part to begin with, to ask ourselves that question, who am I? Who do I want to be? Because that's the
what
first
kind of
step.
parent I want to be.
What kind of parent I want to be. And also to recognizing that you have not brought other baggage in from your childhood. You know, sometimes we say, well, I don't want to be my mother, I don't want to be my father.
Right.
You know, some unresolved issues that may be there. Are these playing a role into how you parent your child or your children? So those are some things we want to look at when we want to maintain that family structure, in addition to good parenting skills. And we say the word skills because it's things that we can learn. Nobody is perfect. There's no blue book out there, as they say. But you learn these skills via being educated, via different resources, and we'll talk some more about that later. And then the other piece to it is understanding your child. You know, who is your child? Understanding that kids are adults in the making, really. And if you can understand, again, via, and it's, there's no shame in reading a book. There's no shame in picking a book and reading and seeing what the literature says about kids at 5 years old, at 13 years old. There's no shame in that.
So we should gather as much information as we can.
Correct.
About children, their behavior at certain stages in the
development, so you can understand what's really happening. So then, I truly believe if you understand what that child is going through during that stage of life, your role now in implementing, rules and regulations and parenting skills is better enhanced because you know what you're working with. And so that's the big thing I think we miss sometimes, and I just want to put that out there so much to our viewing audience, that piece that sometimes is missing. How can you fix a car and, okay, let me get the wrench, let me get this, let me get that, but we don't know what's the make and model, and if we use this wrench, it mightn't work, it might make it worse.
And if you get the wrong part,
it doesn't fit.
Exactly. We got to take a break for one from our sponsors.
Okay.
But when we come back, we want to continue discussion on how do parents in these various families need to interact with each other to maintain the family and to make the environment comfortable for the children, particularly I'm focusing tonight mostly on step family.
Yeah.
Right? So we're going to take a break and we're going to come right back with more of Dr. Cindy George. Keep it locked right here on Spotlight. And when we come back I want to open up the phones. If anybody wants to call, the numbers come up on the screen. You can call and ask a question, make a comment, because you have an expert here in this field, and you need to take advantage of the information that she's going to be able to provide for us. Keep it locked.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Clarence Thomas Limited, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.
Calling all CCT Internet customers. Did you know if you have CCT Internet service including internet on your phone, you can connect to CCT's 4G Wi-Fi service free of charge? That means you can enjoy unlimited high-speed CCT Wi-Fi on any Wi-Fi device. Browse the web, check your mail, stay connected to any of CCT BVI's hotspots for free. Call CCT today and request your exclusive CCT Wi-Fi username and password and join the CCT Wi-Fi network. CCT, the home of unlimited.
For any job, be it residential or commercial, Clarence Thomas Limited is the British Virgin Islands' best choice for a wide variety of supplies to help tackle any task. Refresh the interior and exterior of your home with our selection of paint and painting supplies. For home improvements, CTL is your one-stop source for sinks, tubs, toilets, faucets, and decorative products. Convert your yard into a landscape paradise with tools and supplies from our lawn and garden center. Or visit our lumber yard where you can build that house from the ground up. Visit our convenience stores location at Pasir, Port Purcell and Tortola, and the Valley Virgin Gorda. We provide something for everyone. Clarence Thomas Limited, the best products at the lowest prices period. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Educational institutions are often best judged by the quality of their graduates. At the Hamilton Labadee Stout Community College, the educational experience offered enhances the lives of graduates and through them, organizations and communities as well. I believe HLSCC graduates represent the rich tapestry of skills, attitudes and personalities needed for any community to thrive. I am Zebulon McLean, Chief Fire Officer of the Virgin Islands Fire and Rescue Service, and a proud alumnus of HLSCC, where I obtained a Certificate of Achievement in Disaster Management and 2 associate degrees in Business Administration and Finance before furthering my studies abroad. I also serve as an adjunct lecturer at HLSCC and enjoy participating in the college's 2-mile race series. I fully support the efforts of HLSCC to deliver tertiary education to the Virgin Islands and the region. And now, because of HLSCC, I am making a difference.
Remember, at HLSCC, your tomorrow begins today.
Life is like a mountain you must climb. Life is like a treasure you must find. A baby learning how to talk. With just one step begins to walk. One step at a time will lead you to paradise. Your dreams are there to find. One step to paradise.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Having a terrific discussion with Dr. Cindy George of Samoj, counseling.
And consultation.
Yeah.
It's a mouthful. But we agreed we'll just call it Samaj.
Samaj,
yes.
Right? And we are talking about family structures. If you just joined us, I'm sorry that you just joined us because the conversation is really, really interesting. It's about to get really intense. And the phone number is going to come up on the screen, and you can interrupt us at any time and ask questions that may relate to your particular situation that you need answers to, and you can get some good answers and some good guidance, because it's really tricky dealing with a family situation that is not the traditional family, and maybe a step family, or
blended.
A blended family, yeah. So you have an opportunity now to really get some answers to your questions. But I want to come back to the relationship in a step family, for example,
yes.
Where you have the children that belongs to the mother, and then you have the stepfather, and how does that family manage those relationships between the mother and father? How do they manage their relationship? And how the mother manages her relationship with her children, her biological children, and then manages her relationship with her biological children and the stepfather, and the relationship between the stepfather and the stepchildren.
So many things to manage. It's a lot, yes.
Yeah, And so, where is understanding? Where is the skills that's needed to maintain this type of family structure so that you have a wholesome environment for the relationships to thrive?
Yeah, and that's a loaded question that has so many different little answers. But I'll start from the core, and as we were talking over the break, and I'll get into some of the skills. But I truly believe, and again, as I was sharing with you, my doctoral research was similar to what we're speaking to right now, and it all comes down to the core of that relationship between the parents, okay, and the perceptions of that by not only the biological kids, but all of the kids together. And what I mean by that, once that relationship is perceived to be strong, to be solid, we're talking about that intimate romantic relationship, that plays a big factor in the acceptance, on the day-to-day acceptance of those children as that step family moves forward. And what I mean by that is, if it's seen that there is commitment, if it's seen that there's respect, if it's seen that there is love in that relationship, that is a beginning factor for those children to then, for lack of a better word, get on board with this whole step family thing and get things moving. You asked the question about how can all of those interactions interplay. And the first thing that definitely has to come into play is the recognizing and the realization that, hey, these families have now merged. We are no longer just me and dad or me and mom. These families have now merged. And that, of course, may take some time, depending, again, on numerous variables, whether there was a divorce, how the divorce was, the length of time after, all of these things. But the point is that recognizing that this is what's happening and this is what's going to be. That's one thing. And then between the stepmom and her stepkids, again, not recognizing, and we hear this, but it's so true, not recognizing that I have to be taken over that role from your mother. But I am now joined to your father, joined to you via that relationship, and joined to you as a parental figure. And I think once that mother, as a stepmother, looks at those two roles, her role as the wife, co-heading that family, and her role as not the mother, because she's not, but she's a stepmother to those children, those things then begin to come into. You don't want to be the kid's friend. If you want to be a kid's friend, they go to school and have their friends. And the same goes for the father to the other children. So it's really for us to beginning to recognize that what the role is, and playing those roles, and really defining them. And when I say define them, I mean you don't want to be haphazardly. 1 minute you're telling them, clean your room and do X, Y, or Z. And then the next minute you're wanting to run with them to the mall or do something that's on a level of more friendship. There needs to be consistency with that.
And it needs to be clear. There's a parent-child relationship.
Exactly. And that comes when we talk to boundaries and guidelines, keeping those.
How important it is for those, the parents, the male and the female, to have a pre-discussion about how they intend to parent and how this family structure and the rules and guidelines is going to be set up.
Well, definitely. I mean, and in anything, I mean, even if it wasn't a step family or just a traditional, that is very important because they need to be on the same page. They need to be on the same page. And it goes back to what we were saying during the break, that if the kids see a divide, that whole notion of joining and understanding and making that step family become a reality, that's some challenges there, right? So definitely those two parents have to maintain or present a united front, not only in terms of their intimate relationship, but in that parental structure as well. because that then sets the tone for the family. It sets the mood, how things move forward. And kids can only learn from what they see, If they don't see that, they question it, they challenge it,
So give us some examples of what kinds of support the father, the stepfather would bring to the, the father would bring to the stepmother, and the mother would bring to the stepfather. What types of supports need to be shown so that the children get a clear picture of the type of relationship that they're in.
And that's a good question. And again, when you say support, so many things come to my mind, and I think of just the whole gender. I think of the gender role as well, and not that. And I hope the audience don't misunderstand me. I'm not pegging and say, okay, men only do this or women only do that. But when I speak to gender roles, I speak to the fact that, just traditional things. Let's say, for example, men being respectful of women in terms of just how they speak to them. Men being respectful to women in simple things like, taking out the trash or getting the groceries or pulling out the chair, whatever. Because the point is, you have to be an example. You have to be a model for these kids. And the support that we're speaking to comes back to when you then begin to prioritize. I heard one couple, I'm not going to say who it is, but I heard one couple say, when our intimate relationship is number one, we do better as parents, and some people are like that. Because once that solid structure of that intimate relationship is there, it lends itself to the other roles that you need to do, and not to say that if somebody is a terrible husband or a terrible wife, that they can't be a good parent. But research and experience has shown that if that is the case, it tends to work in the other favor.
The challenges are greater.
The challenges are actually less if they are better in that intimate.
Right. If they're not as intimate, the challenges are greater.
Correct.
Right. Yeah,
yes.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah. Now, in terms of helping the stepmother to gain respect of the stepchildren, how does the father, the biological father, help to bring that respect to the stepmother?
Yeah, and I think sometimes that is a big challenge because the father might be thinking, okay, here I have these kids, they're close to their mother, their biological mother. How can I get them to be close to my wife, to this person that I've chosen?
And we know that children got a habit of saying, "Well, you're not my mother."
You're my mother. You can't tell me what to do.
You don't tell me this.
Exactly. And I think one of the things definitely for the father, and it goes back to what we were saying, that family system, that family structure. Trying to begin to maintain that. Yes, we talk about them separate, the spousal, the parental, the sibling. But I think one of the great things that fathers, and even if it's the other way around, mothers can do, is begin to build on that family structure and recognize, hey, we are a family, okay? Let's do some things. This is your brother now. This isn't just your friend in class. This is your brother now. Okay, let's try to do some things surrounding around that sibling system. Let's try to do some things surrounding around that whole family system. And I think that is one of the great things that, again, will begin to help those stepchildren to I don't want to say gravitate, but to make it easier to accept the step-parent, is when that family structure as a system now begins to be prioritized and made to seem very, very significant. It's not just...
It begins to work. When you have activities that include everyone, and you start doing family, start doing family activities.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't. The husband, the father don't go off with his children,
correct,
and leave the other children he includes everybody, and we start doing family things, and that brings that bond.
Yeah, and not just activities, but just simple things. You know, like maybe just including them in I don't know, in a family photo, or including them in something just simple. It doesn't
Regularly
have to be
having dinner together.
Regularly having dinner together.
Or lunch, or whatever the case may be.
Whatever the case is. Exactly. You know, it doesn't have to be anything so major.
Yeah. We're gonna take another break.
Oh, okay.
And I want to come back and talk a little bit about parenting skills and a wellness workship that's coming up. And raising cooperative, confident, and compassionate children. And that's interesting because I haven't been seeing those type of children in my interaction with children. You know, not children in the sense of, you know, babies, but children in the sense of teenagers or young adolescents.
Yeah.
You know,
School-aged
kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep it locked right here at the Spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Clarence Thomas Limited, the BVI Tourist Board, and CCT Global Communications.
At CCT, unlimited means unlimited. We've got the best selection for unlimited voice and internet plans available. Choose unlimited voice for only $39 per month. We'll give you a choice of unlimited usage with or without contract. Just choose one of our no contract plans. Need unlimited internet? You got it. We'll give you unlimited internet on your phone or unlimited broadband at home without no overage charges. No high bills, no need to pay for fixed line you never use. Choose CCT and join the home of unlimited today. CCT, where unlimited means unlimited.
For any job, be it residential or commercial, Clarence Thomas Limited is the British Virgin Islands' best choice for a wide variety of supplies to help tackle any task. Refresh the interior and exterior of your home with our selection of paint and painting supplies. For home improvements, CTL is your one-stop source for sinks, tubs, toilets, faucets, and decorative products. Convert your yard into a landscape paradise with tools and supplies from our lawn and garden center. Or visit our lumber yard where you can build that house from the ground up. Visit our convenience stores location at Pasir, Port Purcell and Tortola, and the Valley Virgin Gorda. We provide something for everyone. Clarence Thomas Limited, the best products at the lowest prices, period. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Tempt your taste buds in the British Virgin Islands this November through 2 spectacular culinary events when the BVI Tourist Board presents BVI Restaurant Week and the Anegada Lobster Festival. Top-notch chefs, spiny lobster dishes, cook-offs, a VIP dinner, breakfast, lunch and dinner menus at unbelievable prices, and tons of fun on these beautiful Caribbean shores. Festivities begin the 22nd of November and continue until 1st December. For more information, contact the BVI Tourist Board at 1-284-494-3134 or visit bvitourism.com/restaurant week or bvitourism.com/Anegada Lobster Festival.
Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm having a really interesting discussion with Dr. Cindy George of Samaj. And we started off talking about the family structures, the various family structures, and how to maintain those structures. I want to get into you got a workshop coming up, right? Tell us a little bit about the workshop.
Sure. Yes. Well, every few months, every 3 months or so, I've partnered with the New Life Foundation at Dove's Bottom, and I put on a free wellness workshop for the community. It's free. And I'm into a series, and this one that I'm doing on the 31st, which is a Thursday, 6:30 to 7:30. It speaks to parenting, and I chose that because school had just started. We're in October, things are moving, and there might be some challenges for parents. And the title of it is Raising Compassionate,
Cooperative, confident, and
compassionate children, the 3 C's. And basically, in that workshop, what I want to do is to show parents that there are some do's and there are some don'ts. And I always want to tell you, don't do this, but do this, and why. I want you to know why you want to do it, because a lot of times we say do so and so, but we don't know why we're doing it. And to raise the kind of kids, the 3 C's that we talked about, we have to really recognize not only the action that we're doing, but the what we're also putting into it. Let's say, I'll give you an example. I love giving this example. We have little Sally. She makes her bed, okay? And you say, oh, wonderful job. Nice job today. I wish you could do that more often. Or you might say, oh, great, the kid comes home with an A. Oh, that's great, you got an A for midterm. Oh, I hope you could keep that up next time, And what we're not recognizing, yes, we have praised our children, but the end part is what they will only hear. Why didn't I do it more often?
And somehow they seem they're not good enough.
And they may seem not good enough. And what I want to do in this workshop is to not only give you the do's, but the don'ts, and why. Because we have to recognize that children are looking at us, they're listening at us, they're taking in everything, not just what we tell them, but even our nonverbals, right? And we have to remember a lot of those little things that we might be walking off and saying something, and they hear that. And that has so much of an impact. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of things like that, and just recognizing how a lot of our behaviors affect our children, not just the rules that we tell them, but the other behaviors that we have as well. And we need to be mindful of that when we're raising children.
Okay. And this is, tell us the date again.
Sure. It's Thursday, October 31st, the last day of the month, 6:30 to 7:30. It's in Save the Seeds Center.
And that's at Dove's Bottom.
That's at Dove's Bottom, in that building right across from the New Life Baptist Church. And
it's free.
It's free. It's free.
Yeah.
And I have them. This is the third one that I'm doing. So, every 3 months or so, I would do one. So it's just a series. If you've missed the other two, come and get these, and hopefully you won't miss this one. But there'll be more coming.
And I really think that this is important, because so many of us as parents think we have it all together. And we say things like, well, my mother raised me, my father raised me, and look how I turned out. We think of ourselves as turning out really well, especially if we perhaps got an education and
have a good job,
and so on. And we think that we've been raised very well, and not recognizing that perhaps if our parents had some parenting skills, we might be much more advanced.
Yeah. And also, to another thing we need to look at is we probably were raised well in that time and in that environment and in those situations. It's so different now. I mean, we have so many different things happening, whereby we may have different school-aged children, different cultures that we never had, being interacting with. Society is so different. There's so everything is different.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And what's the phone number to call if persons wanted to get information and they didn't hear everything or forgot something that you said? How can they reach you?
Sure, they can call 346-0662, 346-0662.
Are you in a phone book or anywhere people can just go to?
Well, I always tell people, and in this day and age with technology, it amazes me when somebody said, I've been trying to find you. And I say, Google me.
Oh, okay.
All you got to do, Samarj.
Yeah.
My website will come up. You don't even have to remember the whole long name. Just type in Samarj and it will come up.
And that's C-M-O-R-G-E.
C-I-M-O-R-G-E.
C-I-M-O-R-G-E.
Correct. C-I-M-O-R-G-E. It will come up. You can type in my name. It'll come up as well. So that's out there. Information is out there.
Okay. And we have a couple of minutes remaining. Just give us a couple of do's and don'ts and why.
Okay, sure. Some do's. always be one do that I think is very important is when we're correcting or when we're parenting or giving rules to our children, we want to do it in a way that is very specific. You know, you don't want to tell a child, okay, you go ahead and make sure you do that right next time, or make sure you clean that properly. You have to, because children need tangible things. So we have to be specific in what we're telling them to do. Okay? Make sure it's spelled out for them. And the reason why is because it makes it easier for them to, not that if we do it that way they'll listen, but it makes it easier for them to process. It makes it easier for them to make sense of it. Okay? Another, a don't, that's a do. A don't?
Yes,
A don't. A don't, again, would be to not use, what's the word I'm looking for? The negative at the end of things. Because a lot of times children, again, they're listening to us, they're being very mindful of how we do how we critique them. And we probably won't think that, but they are. And when we utilize those negative endings, it really leaves a lasting impact on them. And it just really erases any kind of self-esteem that they may have garnered or we think we have given them.
So when you say, to make that clearer for me, when you say clean, when you're talking to a child in terms of cleaning your room, for example, you don't say make sure you clean your room properly.
Right.
You say make sure that you get the dust under the cabinet.
Or you might say, okay, Sally Sue, make sure you make the bed, make sure you clean under the bed, make sure you wipe off the counters, you know, all of these things.
Yeah.
But one might say, well, do I have to do it all the time? No, you don't have to do it all the time, because what happens is once you've made it clear to that child 2 or 3 times, that child then knows what to do.
Specifically what to do. Yeah.
But if you're so clean your room, and you come back,
and you meet the dust all over the place, right?
come on. Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
So be specific.
So that's the 31st of
the 31st of October, the last day of the month.
Down at Dulles Bottom at New Life
Center. And again,
6
you could
to
always
7.
6:30 to 7:30. And you can call at 346-0662. And I think I know the number in my head, but I don't want to give it that it's the wrong one. Oh my gosh, I'm so terrible. But definitely you can always call, call the New Life Baptist Church, and they will definitely be able to.
And this is a periodic workshop.
It's a periodic workshop. This is the 3rd one that I've been doing.
So what is it, every 3 months?
It's roughly every 3 months, they come on stream, yeah.
And this is something that's going to be continuous.
It's something that's going to be continuous.
It's a series of workshops of parenting.
Well, not necessarily on parenting, but on wellness. I've partnered with the New Life Center, and I'll give you an example. The first one, a couple ones that I did on stress, and we talked about what stress was, how to maintain, not maintain, but how to relieve that. Then we talked about depression, understanding it, and how to remove it. And now we're speaking to parenting, and I think we choose it for what is happening in society, what's prevalent right now. And I think, as I said, because school started back up in September, I'm sure parents will be having some challenges, and just to help them with that. Yeah.
Any last word? We got 30 seconds.
Sure. Well, again, the reason why we wanted to have this show tonight was to really recognize the structure of the family, recognize that it's very important to see that the family is changing. We want to be able to help our children to move in positive directions despite the traditional family if they get into blended or step families. We want to recognize the role of that intimate relationship, that spousal relationship, and how important it is to maintain that. And again, the perception of those children for that relationship really is key in how they adapt to the step family. If there are any step families out there, they're having any challenges, again, remember my specialization is marital, couples, and family therapy. Very versed in that and helping families to overcome these challenges. You can always give me a call. Again, my number 346-0662. I'm upstairs of GNC Department Store in Rotown. You could also check me on my website, www.somargecounseling.com, 1L, because I know the British spelling is 2 L's, and people say, well, I put in 2 L's. I said, well, that's why my email didn't come. It's 1 L. And again, somarge@somargecounseling.com is my email.
Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure.
It's always good. It's always good to
My
see you.
pleasure.
Thank you for watching. Thanks for your words of encouragement. Spotlight is seen Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on JTV Channel 55. We broadcast Sundays at 2:30. We stream live at jtvlive.net. If you miss any Spotlight, any part of it, you can also go online and get Spotlights on demand. Tap on the Spotlight tab, and all the Spotlights will come up. You choose which one you want, so you can always catch what you miss. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for your words of encouragement. Your suggestions and criticisms, continue to email me at jtvspotlight@yahoo.com. I'm Edjuenko, reminding you that when the spotlight is on, you see the facts. Peace and blessings.
Spotlight is brought to you by Tortola Concrete Limited, Clarence Thomas Limited, and Jtvlivenet Stout Community College.
What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? Hanging out on the corner where there is no future. What are you doing with your life? Tell me, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? That's what you should do with your life.
Educational institutions are often best judged by the quality of their graduates. At the Hamilton Labadee Stout Community College, the educational experience offered enhances the lives of graduates and through them, organizations and communities as well. I believe HLSCC graduates represent the rich tapestry of skills, attitudes and personalities needed for any community to thrive.
I am Zebulon McLean, Chief Fire Officer of the Virgin Islands Fire and Rescue Service and a proud alumnus of HLSCC,
where I obtained a Certificate of Achievement in Disaster Management and 2 associate degrees in Business Administration and Finance before furthering my studies abroad. I also serve as an adjunct lecturer at HLSCC and enjoy participating in the college's 2-mile race series. I fully support the efforts of HLSCC to deliver tertiary education to the Virgin Islands and the region. And now, because of HLSCC, I am making a difference.
Remember, at HLSCC, your tomorrow begins today.
The BVI Electricity Corporation is encouraging